So hi, we have Greg Brenemann with us, turnaround guru. And Greg, thank you very much for making time with us.
Oh, it's great to be here.
It was very inspiring to hear what you had to say, especially this connection, between the business, but also the personal stuff and really how that affects our lives. So I would like to start first and foremost to talk to you about how you approach your investment. So when you meet with CEOs, what is it that, what kind of questions do you ask these CEOs in order to get a feel for their investment style?
Yeah, I have some business tests and then some personal tests. The business tests I ask are pretty straightforward. It's, tell me about your company, tell me about your strategy. And what I'm kind of searching for is, have they been able to simplify what they do, the value they bring to customers, how they think about their employees, in a way that they can communicate it clearly and concisely, and that I feel it has real value in the marketplace. On the personal side, I apply two tests. One I call the fly across the Atlantic test. Is this someone I'd want to sit next to for 8 hours flying across the Atlantic? And then the other one is what I call the dipstick test, and that is in a car, if you check the oil, you put the dipstick in, and if the smarts have to be there, right? So if it comes out low on oil, low on smarts, pretty tough to accommodate that. And so those are really the tests I check. Yeah.
And then when it comes to an innovation mindset or innovation culture, is that something that you test for in these companies? If you do, how do you go about that?
Absolutely. What we typically do on a business that's more technology driven is what's the vitality. So basically over the last 3 or 4 years, what new products have they developed and what % of revenue are those products? It's easier to develop things, it's much harder to commercialize them. So what you're looking for is companies that can actually develop ideas, but can also monetize them. And if you go back in time 3 or 4 years and you look at what % of their revenue actually comes from those products that have been developed during that time, it's a pretty good indicator.
And so with regards to all this digitalization that's going on and forward thinking and looking at innovative business models, is that something that you also look for?
Well, I think everybody is looking for kind of what the next best business model is. I think you have to be careful. For every Uber, for every Airbnb, for every sort of innovative business model, there's about 1 million that didn't work. So you have to be sure to kind of apply the same logical business tests to those models that you do to other things as well.
Cool. So another thing that I noticed, I was reading one of your interviews and I read this quote from there which really resonated with me. So I'm going to say, if I can't simply put what needs to be done on one page, I probably haven't thought through it well enough. And that really resonated with me. And I was wondering whether you could just elaborate on what you meant by that.
Yeah, well, simple and easy are not the same thing. When you simplify something, it becomes very powerful, and that's hard to do. It's hard to take the complex and make it simple. But when you do, it almost becomes easy. And so I find in business, if it takes people a lot of words and it takes them a lot of pages to express what they're doing, they really haven't thought through it clearly. So what I often tell our CEOs and my partners is, I'd like you to have a 20-second soundbite of what you do, a 2-minute soundbite, elevator soundbite, and maybe a 20-minute soundbite. But a lot of people want to have the 2-hour soundbite. Nobody's going to sit for 2 hours and listen if they don't get the idea in the first 2 minutes. So taking that time to simplify it actually says a lot about your business and says a lot about how you've thought about your business.
Yeah, I've realized that with myself, that actually getting the thought together, like putting it down, that's easier. But then actually refining it and bringing it down, distilling it down to the essence, that is so much more difficult and time consuming. It's significantly, really, really hard.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I know that you're on your way now to Munich after this, and I don't want to keep you too long, but if people want to learn a little bit more about these kind of things, how could they reach out? How could they learn about it?
I'd say what I'd start by doing is, if you can, get the book. I wrote a book called Right Away and All at Once, 5 Steps to Transform Your Business, Enrich Your Life. And it actually takes probably 2.5 or 3 hours to read it. A lot of the ideas are in there. So maybe before reaching out, read the book and then reach out after.
And is there a website or something like that where they could?
The book, actually, if you type that in on Google or on Amazon, you'll see the information.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.